Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another interlude of The Ways We Move. I'm your host, Nicholas Zard, and I just wanted to take a little break from all the interviews we've had up until now, and just to do a quick little recap of whom we spoke to and who we had on the show, and also to say yes, indeed, it has been very aviation intensive, and it's not really what I was starting with, because I do have a lot of people who are lined up for the rest of the year, but it is right now very intense what's happening in advanced air mobility, and it's not a cliche to say we are witnessing a once in a lifetime revolution, especially in mobility. Where we are with advanced air mobility is pretty much well, the same kind of energy that we had about 100 years ago, when we had a plethora of different designs. We had airplanes with multiple wings, multiple configurations. We had airplanes with rotors, with propellers, and of course, about a decade later, we also had the birth of helicopters. And so we're going through this whole exuberant engineering creative movement where different designs are being offered to the public as another way of moving us, hopefully away from traffic and into the air. And for those of you who think we're going to have air traffics, yes, we might have it in some places, but there are a lot more road pathways in the air than there are on the road. Simply put, a 2D system that we have now with our cars is getting pretty much landlocked, but the air has a lot of different layers. But without going into too much details, that's pretty much what we've been seeing right now. I'm also excited to say that I've finally launched a segment of The Ways We Move I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's to highlight women in mobility. The reason why I say that is it's twofold, really, because I grew up with women. Actually, I grew up with more women than men around in my life. So I understand, most of the time, I understand how women work, and if there is any difference, the difference that they bring to work. I love working with women. It's always very interesting. What started this whole thing was in 2022. I was at NASA Ames. I was in one of their wind tunnel, and there were about 10, 12 people in the tunnel. And all of a sudden, I realized there was only one other guy in the tunnel. So I reached out to one of the young ladies and I said, "Is it me, or are there more women than men?" And she proudly turned around and she said, "Yes, this year we had 62% women in our class." And I thought, wow, this is really fantastic. So ever since, it's been in the back of my mind. And I started the very first interview with an amazing lady. I hope you can watch it again. I'll try to put a link on this. And that is Professor Smith, Marilyn Smith, who is who who is a professor at Georgia Tech, and she's amazing. We talked about downwash. We talk about, with the different propellers that these aircraft have, what happens if one all of a sudden has less or has more push than another. How do we deal with this? What are the consequences? And not too long ago, I just posted this today. I just interviewed another wonderful lady, Sarah Nilsson, also a professor who is also a lawyer. And Sarah is absolutely it's absolutely fantastic. She grew up on the island of Malta. She went to the UK to start her education. She moved over here. She became a citizen. And she married both of her loves, law and aviation, together. And today she is a professor at Embry-Riddle, and I'm very fortunate that she's asked me to be one of the judges for her class. Her students have an upcoming end of year sort of program, and we'll be judging them. And it was very interesting to listen to her, to hear not only the drive that she has, but also how multifaceted this lady is, and how motivated she is, but also in a good way. Sometimes you can get a little over motivated and you're ready to step on anyone, but that's not at all what I saw with Sarah. So I highly encourage you to listen to it. And it's our second women in mobility. Let me tell you about who else is coming up. Speaking of Emery Riddle, we're going to have the International Dean of Aviation, hopefully, who will be speaking with us, as well as yet another wonderful lady and also with Emery Riddle. And pretty soon, I'll invite a lot more people, a lot more ladies who are making a difference into our industry. Next, I'm just also asking anyone if anyone knows anyone in the railroad industry. I will be interviewing a wonderful lady yet again, who is at the head of a railroad, railroad magazine, and she's based in Europe. So it's going to be very interesting to see what she has to say coming from that side of the pond. But if you know anybody else who is working in the railroad industry, in the EV industry, in the maritime world, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what you would like to cover, or if you want to talk about any of these things, as long as it has to do with modern innovations, modern mobility innovations. Lastly, of course, we depend on your help and support, obviously. And I will put a link right under where you can help us continue to have these presentations, continue to have these amazing people who are shaping our future with innovative mobility solutions. If you can help out, that would be very helpful. And there are many ways you can help out. For one thing, you can just like the videos. That's a very minimum. Please subscribe to the channel, because the more subscriptions we have, the more we have access to getting funded. And of course, if you can go to Buzzsprout and give us a little help, that goes a long way into, well, getting different microphones, getting more systems. Yes, my poor aging laptop needs a replacement, as well as my desktop too, unfortunately, and my phone. Actually, everything. Don't they always need an update or an upgrade at some point or another? So this is where we are right now. So we would love your help. But in the meantime, we hope you've enjoyed this quick little interlude to say, hey, we've posted 14 episodes since the beginning of the year. We're on a roll. We're looking for sponsors. Anyone interested, please contact me. You know where to contact me, or I'll give you my email address. It's very simple. Nicholas, no H, Nicolas. My last name is Zart, Zart, at electricairmobility.com, and we can send you a sponsorship package where you can help us in different ways, and we can also help you have more visibility. Next, we're also going to speak to a good friend of mine, someone I've known for a very long time. He is my infrastructure guru. He's also known as Mr. Infrastructure. Do you know who that is? That's Rex Alexander, a good and dear friend of mine. And Rex and I, for the last few years, along with another good friend of mine, Clint Harper, who will also come shortly on the show, Rex just like Clint, are the two people I call once in a while and say, hey, what do you think of this? I mean, these guys are saying that, or this project is talking about this. What do you think of that? And so we start brainstorming, and of course, we'll never go public with what we say, but sometimes we're like, that ain't gonna fly. Virtually, or yeah, there's a potential, or this or this or that. So it's going to be very interesting to talk to Rex, because we will talk about not only the future of advanced air mobility, but also specifically on the infrastructure side of things. And I'll drop the hint right now. We're going to be talking about something that we've been pushing for the last 2 years, especially at Electric Air Mobility, my company, eSTOL ports. And STOL ports have been actually in use for decades, since the 80s with the military, and that's a very short runway where, if you've watched the episode with Electra, we had Mark Osman on the show not too long ago, we can actually move a lot of passengers, higher payloads than an eVTOL, on a very short runway, meaning they can land on just about 200 feet, and they can take off on slightly over that. So a 350-foot runway will give us an aircraft that can be certified faster than an eVTOL, IFR that can fly with instrument ratings, and that has de-icing, of course, carry more and use less energy, as you know, because hovering uses a lot of energy. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to be covering these topics. I hope I've said it all. I hope you enjoy the channel. Please subscribe, like, and if you can, please help us. But also, always the question remains the same. what you thought you knew about these innovative mobility systems. What have you learned? How has your mind changed around that? Please let us know, because it's important to understand how you understand the evolution of electric vehicles, electric aircraft, electric maritime vessels, and of course, railroad. And they're all moving at different pace and in slightly different directions. But one thing that we all have in common is we all work together as a mobility, multi-port sort of infrastructure world. So we look forward to your comments, and well, stay tuned for Rex Alexander and a lot more people from Emery Riddle next. Thank you, and please come back and check for more.